Assalamu alaikum dear students, hope you all are fine and in good health. Today I am going to summarize Zoom Online class 3rd lecture that is about Unit 5 Atom, Molecules, Mixture and Compound. So before starting our lecture you must have your rough copy and pencil so that you can note down the important points and definitions. Let's start our topic. Our topic is about separating mixtures. One difference between a mixture and a compound is that it is usually quite easy to get back the substances that went into a mixture, but very difficult to get back the substances that reacted to form a compound. There are several techniques that can be used to separate mixtures. First one is filtration, second one is evaporation, the third one is sublimation, and the fourth one is distillation. So first we will discuss about the filtration. So filtration is the removal of the solid particles from a liquid or air by passing it through a filter or a sieve. Or you can say the removal of a solid particle from a fluid by passing the fluid through a filtering medium. The apparatus that is used for the process of filtration is beaker, funnel, iron stand, filter paper, and the mixture of sand and water is required. So how you are going to fold the filter paper? First fold the filter paper, then give it another fold to form a cone of a filter paper. Let's start the process of filtration now. Now first of all, if you have a mixture of a liquid and solid that has not dissolved, you can separate the liquid and solid by filtering. So during the filtering, the mixture is poured into a filter paper that is held in a funnel. The filter paper is full of tiny holes and is acting like a sieve. The large particles of the solid are too large to go through the tiny holes and are left in the filter paper as a residue. As you can see in the diagram, the sand is acting like a residue. The impurities that left behind on the filter paper, they are known as a residue. The smaller particles of a liquid pass through and are collected as the filtrate. Here in the diagram, the clear water is a filtrate. In this way, the insoluble solid and the liquid are separated. Filtering can be used to separate sand and water or chalk and water. It cannot be used to separate salt and water because the tiny particles of solid dissolved salts go through the filter paper with the water. So everyday examples of the use of filtration include the filtering coffee, the use of a tea bag or a tea stainer, the grates over drain, and the hair in the nose which filter out dust particles from the air breathed in. Cars are fitted with oil and air filtered to prevent dust and other unwanted particles getting into and damaging the engine. Vacuum cleaners are fitted with a cloth filter so that the dust they pick up is not circulated in the air. People used to wear the mask to filter out the dust from the air they breathe in. So let's start our next topic, that is evaporation. So evaporation is the process by which a liquid is changed into a gas, or you can say that in evaporation is when the sun heats up the water in river, lakes or the ocean and turn it into vapors. The water vapors leave the air, lake or ocean and goes into the air. You cannot separate dissolved solid as salt from a liquid such as water by filtering, but you can separate the salt by evaporation. So let's do an experiment. So here you can see the solution containing this dissolved salt is poured into an evaporating basin and heated gently. Eventually all the liquid evaporates, leaving the salt behind. The salt forms crystals in the basin. Now in the diagram you can see the common salt is left behind and the water evaporates. In some warm part of the world, salt is obtained by evaporating seawater trapped in large shallow salt pan. The sun's heat gradually evaporates the water, leaving the salt behind. This is then ranked up in piles to dry. Let us discuss some daily life examples of evaporation. So first of all, we are going to discuss that one of the most common real-life example of evaporation is drying of clothes under the sun. When the wet clothes are put under the sun, They get heated up, resulting in the evaporation of water particles present in wet clothes, making the clothes dry. The hot iron evaporates the water vapor present in the fabric of clothes, which help to iron the clothes well. The next example is that have you ever observed that how a hot cup of tea or any hot liquids cool down after some time? It's all possible because of the evaporation. Heat loss happens as the water evaporates, resulting in cooling down of the tea. Okay, the next example is like, how does the wet floor dries up? Where does the water go away? The simple answer is that water is evaporated because of the heat and making the floor completely dry. When the ice cubes are taken out of the refrigerator for having drinks, we all must have noticed that after some time the ice cube melts and takes the form of the liquid. It changes its shape from the solid to liquid. Do you know why it happens? It all happens because of the increased temperature outside the refrigerator that evaporates the water, resulting in the change of shape of the ice cubes. Now, the acetone that is present in the nail paint remover take the heat out of our bodies and evaporate. On a hot summer day, the sweat from the skin evaporates due to the high temperature of the environment, taking a little bit of body heat. Thus, it results in the cooling effect. During cooking, a lot of heat is produced inside a pressure cooker, and with its whistle, the steam comes out by evaporation, making a perfect dish for us. Next topic is on sublimation. So sublimation is the process by which a solid transforms into a gas without passing through the liquid stage at normal atmospheric pressure on the surface of the earth. Only some compounds like dry ice can go through this process. Or you can simply say that sublimation is the change from solid to gaseous state without melting. A few solid substances go straight to the gas stage when they are heated, missing out the usual liquid stage. The best example is solid carbon dioxide, the so-called dry ice. This produces carbon dioxide gas as soon as it is warmed. So it is an example of sublimation and is solid carbon dioxide, and is typically found as a gas. When it is frozen into a solid, it turns directly into a gas and totally skips the liquid stage. Now the naphthalene ball, iodine and sulfur are the example of this kind of sublimation. Let's do an experiment for this process of a sublimation. First of all, we will take the 2 grams of iodine in a china dish. Then we will put an inverted funnel over it whose stem is closed by cotton plug and set the apparatus as shown in the diagram. Heat the china dish so that vapors are formed and record the observation now. The vapors of the iodine get condensed on the wall of the funnel. Now we have observed after performing all this experiment that the violet color vapors of iodine get condensed and change into solid iodine. So it is concluded that iodine can sublime and can be purified by sublimation. Our next topic is on distillation. So what is distillation? It is a process used to separate the solvent from a solution. If, for example, you had some seawater and wanted to obtain pure water from it, you would need to heat the water until it boils. So for doing this experiment, the following diagram shows as a distillation process. So this is a technique used in chemistry to purify the water from dissolved impurities, mainly salts. An example is the conversion of seawater to fresh water, as is done in many countries including Oman. Temperature plays an important role in distillation process, and the various steps involved are as follows. Like heating the impure water to produce the steam in the distillation flask first. So you have to turn on the flame. After that you will observe that the steam passes through the condenser where it is condensed. So condensed water is collected in the receiving flask as pure water and also called the distilled water. So this whole process is known as the process of a distillation. Many flowers contain fragrant oil, which are used to make perfume. The oil is obtained by heating the flowers and distilling the vapors which come off. In some countries where drinking water is in short supply, but there are plentiful quantities of oil or other fuels, drinking water is produced by distilling sea water. So, dear student, I hope you understood all the lecture. Thank you so much. Stay home, stay safe.